are you angry, but you're maintaining your cool, stat responding, loving her through it? That's important, but are you angry?
Yes.
Okay, so when she says, I need you to be angry, what she's saying is she wants the real you. You can still stat respond and be calm, but be angry. So if you think about triggers, right? Like the trigger, you have the stimulus, and between the stimulus and the reaction, either calm and stat responding, or being a safe reactor and just losing your cool, between there is a gap where you choose. And so you're choosing to be calm, so you're stat responding, and that's great. But what you're able to do right now is express whatever it is you're feeling. So what is making you angry? Let's go through that for a second. You're angry because?
I'm angry because she said some pretty nasty, mean, hurtful things.
Okay.
That's why I'm angry.
Undisputable fact, and I feel, right? So you're loving her through it. You're doing your thing. She's blowing up. She's safe reacting. She's not in a program, okay? And she's ignoring a lot of her training and her education, okay? So totally cool. You get through it, and when it's your turn to speak, then you just simply say, "Hey, babe, when you say things like that, I feel pretty angry. Shut the fuck up." Like. She is not going to appreciate that yet, based off the messages that you sent me with your text, that she wants you to explore this anger or whatever. Dude, she's trying to get you, like you said, the very first text, she's trying to run to the side of your car like a motherfucker right now. Okay? But you're going to keep showing up consistently. So her first reaction will be safe, and she'll try to go to her safe reactions to try to protect herself and or push you away. Okay. And so she's going to be like, well, you're not fucking angry. Fuck, you're so calm. Or she's going to do all this shit to egg you on. Okay. Because she's already in that heightened state. But you know that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So you can be angry and in control. And if you don't lecture her, she knows that from her education. From her job. Right? So you don't let her push you off the track. You just keep running consistently, and you go, no, I can appreciate where you're coming from, but I'm actually furious. That's an I feel statement. I'm furious. Right? But what you're doing is you're not going to vomit everything all over her. You're not going to be like, I'm just maintaining my cool. I'm just trying to show the structure. I'm just trying to provide the way people should. None of that.
I kept saying, I'm not even mad, babe. And she hated that. She's like, this isn't about you. This is about how I fucking feel.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that in two different ways. So one, she knows you're full of shit. You just told me you're angry, and she can tell that you're angry. You're just trying to stat respond, which is responsible. You're following the reset, and you're doing a great job. And sometimes that's where we're at yet. We're not really there where we can go further. So I don't want you to take that as like, I fucked up, because we have to learn the skills. Remember, we're stacking skills, right? But the second thing is that it is about her right now, because she is angry and you are cool right now. So remember the expression, we all get triggered, but you can help her put the gun down, right? So we already know that you're in control, right? You're being a man with impact right now. And yes, you could have probably shared your feelings more. She's totally giving you permission. And then she's going to throw in your face in the side of your car again. Well, fuck, this isn't about you. This is about me. I can appreciate where you're coming from, babe. Tell me more about what you're feeling. Well, fuck, man. But like, she can go back now. Maybe she's going to be mad about your emotions, that you're not feeling properly again. Now you're not doing this right, that right. That's all just running in the side of your car.
I don't even have to give you the big long story, but the things she hit me with all at once were, this program clearly isn't doing anything for me. She wishes I'd go back to the old person who at least got angry. All I do is just, kind of respond, and I'm not getting angry or showing a lot of emotion. I keep saying I'm not mad or at anything. And then she slipped into, so it was attacking me and about my, things that are going on. And then she said, this program clearly isn't working for you. Then she said, some of the other things she said is that I am basically not emotionally, I haven't been emotionally there for her. I spent too much time on the Discord app. What triggered her the most, she was ready to go to the cabin with me, but what triggered her the most was when I didn't answer her call because I was on the phone with Pete. And I got home because I was going to be there in like 5 minutes. I got home and she's like, you didn't answer my call. You put those guys before us and my relationship. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit.
Before you go too far and I forget some stuff, let's start to break this stuff down a little bit, right? Yep. So the very first thing that you said, you need to just remember that you're doing this for you. The program is not working for her. You're doing this for you. So the reason why that's important is because anytime, that's one of the reasons why I don't like wives to know what's going on, that you're in a program, right? Because then all of a sudden the expectations of your perfection must be met. And I spend so much time, it happens all the time, Jeff, and I spend so much time teaching men not to have expectations of her. And yet what happens when they know that you're in a program is, well, you better do this, 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 and this. I've told you about all this. So you're like, the fuck, you're just lazy. It's not even that my program sucks. It's just you're lazy, you suck, you can't do anything right, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that's the very first thing that you need to realize right now. We don't care. It's not that we don't care, but it doesn't affect us because she's just waiting for the rest to happen. That's all. And
I think
the whole point about
shit out of her. This new me scares the shit out of her.
Well, I was going to come to that soon. The whole point is that if you are leveling up, she has to level up, dude. Mm-hmm. So use the anger argument that she's bringing right now. Mm-hmm. I like the old you. At least I knew you were angry. That's true. Women do want you to feel. Yep. But it's how you manage the feelings. So there's two parts to this. Number one, you are probably not being real enough. Like I just said earlier, you're in a position where you can say, when you treat me like this, when you're saying these things, I'm fucking pissed. Mm-hmm. I'm angry. But you see how I'm saying it? It's not fuck you, you fucking saying all this shit, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I'm angry. I'm fucking pissed. That's harsh version of, I'm angry.
Okay.
But we're not losing our shit.
Yep.
And now she can still come at you. This program doesn't work. Look at you, blah, blah, blah. Dude, just love her through it. Show up as the man that you're proud of being. You know that you don't want to yell back.
Then it went to, after she said, the program's not working. I don't like, you're not, at least you show anger. She said, you've been like distant and way too involved in this program. She's attacking the program. And then it went to basically self-sabotaging on her, saying, I'm a fucking joke. I'm the problem. I just realized I'm not sure if this life is for me, being a stepmom. And she started going down the road of, I just don't think I can do this relationship, being a stepmom too much. And then she said, I'm a joke. I haven't changed at all.
Take a step back. So there's a couple things there too, right? So the first thing is that, remember we talked about the other day, just because there's nice guys doesn't mean there's nice girls. She's going to attack herself. She's not good enough. She's a nice girl.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so she tries to fix everything. It doesn't work out. So she's going to blame you, which she did. And then she's going to go to, I'm a victim, right? Man in control, man with impact, man in power. She's losing all of them. It's just woman version. Okay. Yep. But you know that. So love her through it, right? Get her through it. I'm not saying try to convince her. No, babe, you're the best mom in the world. Now's not the time. That might as well be lecture versus pillow talk, that lesson, right? It's not the time. I can appreciate where you're coming from right now. That's not how I feel.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Right? And so what you're doing, so if you think back to where she's really like, I can't believe you don't feel. I can't believe that you don't, let all these emotions out. I like the old you better. What she's saying is, I want to fight so I can end it. And if you don't, then I'm going to make you want to end it now, which is her safe reactions, because she's just trying to figure out how to handle the new you. That's all. That's simply, you're the big bad race car and she's running into the side of your car and you need to provide structure. That's all that is, right? Okay. So if you think about providing structure, I know that you were kind of concerned about that the other day. It's always where you want to go. So she might want to lose her mind and talk about how she's a terrible mom, right? But you can say, I love this life. I love where we're going. And, the other day we blah, 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 like you can do these sorts of things, but don't try to convince her when she's not ready. The structure doesn't have to be at the moment they're having the fight. It can be, but stat response structure is the first. There's lots of other things we can go through, right? Right now, she's just being triggered, which is really, it's her nice girl. I'm not a good enough person, right?
Yep.
So
100%.
That's what you need to focus on, more so than structure at that moment.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can throw in adventure, or you can throw in the test if it comes up, which it does when she starts to challenge you more, right? But you can try to throw an adventure and have a good time if it works. But none of this is like immediately, this is what we're going to do. It's sort of what's going on in trigger. Trigger is the number one. I called it stat response because that worked out really well for saying stat, right? But putting TS would have been better because trigger is really the most important thing. And in this case, she's massively triggered and she needs her man to love her through that. Now, as far as the Discord, being involved, you need to provide structure. I'm glad that you did nothing at that moment because you knew not what to do. Perfect. What I want you to do is sometime in the next few days, go to her and say, hey, babe, listen, I really thought hard about how I wasn't available on the phone call because I was on another phone call. What I'd like to do is provide a system. Sort of like, it'd probably help us when you're working, you don't want me to bother you, and when I'm working, and it'd be better if you didn't bother me. Same thing with when I'm leading other men, when I'm working with other men to help them. It'll be really cool. And say it like that, like you know it, because you are. Do you know that you are, by the way, Jess?
She said, I need you to stop being a fucking therapist to other men. It's not doing you any good. I responded, and I said, actually, that's a great way for me to learn. And I said, I can appreciate why, if this is cutting into our time at night, it's not a stat.
It's not a stat. No, again, remember we talked about on the phone the other day, you didn't know you're being defensive. So you did that right away. That's your go-to, is immediately you try to teach her and then you stat respond. So your stat response started with a safe reaction and then goes to the stat. So it's not about how what you're doing is great. She knows that. She should know that. If she doesn't know that, she'll figure it out. You don't need to teach her. You married an intelligent woman because you want an intelligent woman, right? So we're not going to explain that part of it. We're going to say, actually, for me, it's something that I just need to do.
Okay.
And Jeff, you're really good at it. Like, one of the reasons why I like Marriage Lords is because it's so much easier looking outside in. Like, I can see your defensiveness right away, where you're like, I'm stat responding right away. And you miss that first safe reaction, that first line, right? And then you stat respond. So I want you to think about it that way more. Like, so you're not justifying it to her. Dude, you should be very proud of the fact that when you listen to other men speak and see their struggles, that you can pick out where they're not using the reset. That you can pull in some of the knowledge that you've learned, because remember, you came to me and you'd already done a lot of work on your own, right? Yep. So you're actually well reflected, well thought out. It's just hard on the inside looking out. That's natural, dude, because that's where the feelings are. That's where the hurt is, right? And the rejection gets us, and the insecurity takes over, and the anger, and whatever. So knowing, I'm going to ask you this question first. Do you feel like you're an incredible marriage lord, the way that you can help other men?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I do.
You sound very confident to me, and I believe that you should be, because I've seen your responses in the group helping other lords, okay? Yep. So if that's the case, she can trash you all she wants, but that part of you is never going to go away. Let's pretend, worst case scenario right now, that tomorrow she says, fuck you, I'm never to see you again, and you literally are blocked and you never see her again, okay? Worst case scenario, God forbid, worst case scenario. Are you going to stop helping other men level up as you continue to grow yourself and level up as more for yourself?
No, I actually enjoy it a lot. I was out. That's why I studied this shit so much. So yeah.
100%. You're one of the few men who get into my program and sit there and learn and write it down. You heard a testimony the other day that was accidental, and you're like, I'm writing notes. Like, you literally, if that worked for him, that's what I'm doing. Like, you're not letting this go. So go back to man in control, your most authentic self, your core values. What do you believe in? Go to purpose. Who am I? What kind of leader in life am I? It does not matter what she says. Is there any possible way that what you're doing could be a bad thing by helping other men?
No.
So even if she thinks that, is that going to prevent you from doing it?
No.
So the only piece that you're missing right now is that you're losing your impact when you quickly safe react to tell her why what you're doing is so great. Listen, at some point, you're going to work a lot more heavily with me, for sure, hands down. And if we don't, if it's just what you're doing right now, you're going to do what you do. You're going to be on the phone with somebody. You know, James is on the phone with you. I just found out I was on a call with him a minute ago. And so you're going to be on the phone with somebody else if you haven't already, right? And you're going to walk them through some things, right? And I'm not saying you're doing this for her, because we just established, this is for you. For you to help other men, to lead them, to leave an impact in life. Right? At some point, the same woman that's hearing you, telling you that you're wasting your time, you're not prioritizing me, or this and that, blah, blah, blah. She's going to hear you change someone's life. And she's going to click. But we're not going to wait for that moment, because you have defined who you are and what you want, and possibly the direction you're going to go to impact potentially the world with me. I don't know what that looks like. But you're finding your place in all that. And it starts with one man at a time, right? So if you understand that, we're not going to worry about her. Now, what that could mean, though, is you need to be a better man at play, right? A lover, player, magnet. You need to make sure that she is so loved, valued, respected, because a highly valuable dude, that's when all of a sudden she's like, and he still has time to make me feel so seen, so heard.
No, I get that.
Right?
I get that.
When you master that, then a lot of this will go away. So what I think is this. It's not that you haven't mastered it. I think that it's all of it coming into place so well that it's overwhelming for her right now. Totally natural. She wasn't used to this, because your nice guy was a motherfucker out of control. Right? People pleasing, giving to get. I just, please love me, please love me. That guy was out of control. So this is very overwhelming for her. That's all. And then if you add her education in, right? And the fact that she knows a lot because you've talked a lot, which maybe we should dial back on some of the program stuff with her. But if you add all that in, can you try to love her through that more? Stat respond without proving you're great?
Yeah, I can. Where I got thrown off was the most was when she started then becoming the victim, right? Like, I actually recognized it, because we talked about the triangle the other day, and it's like, then I was like, look, babe, I'm still here because I love you. I see the greatness in you, and I'm on your team. I used your words. I said, I'm on your team. We're gonna be fine. And I just kind of left it at that. And she, she just kind of went silent and just stewed in her thoughts. But I think, I will just say this last thing, from the moment stuff started going south yesterday, she told me she didn't want to go to the cabin all of a sudden. And then I didn't answer her call, and that made her spiral into the Lords, basically are causing you to, I don't like the Lords. The one thing that stood out is, like, she went from calling herself an asshole. She texted me when I was talking to Pete. She said, I'm acting like an asshole, basically, for multiple reasons. And then she went to asking for a video picture of us to post on TikTok, like a bunch of happy memories, which she posted, to I don't want to go to the cabin, to unloading her emotional baggage on me, to finally coming to the cabin, but a little bit resentful. And now today we're doing okay. But it was like a whole range of emotions, which is women. But that's the nice guy triangle. I saw her bouncing.
I was just going to say, so it's a beautiful, beautiful reflection, because if you can understand it, like that, if you can start to pick out the different stages, then you can walk her through that with stat responses. Provide the structure for where you want to go, right? And if you think about it like this, I think this, I'm not sure if this is where you're at, but I think that you're thinking of the nice guy triangle like, okay, there's a certain amount of time frame we're in each section of the triangle.
No, but I think it's bounce back and forth, honestly. Like, you could be here, but now you're here. It's chaos.
Okay, good.
Chaos.
Yes, think about it more like the feelings wheel, where it's chaos. Where you're like, because if you think about it, like, if you look at the feelings wheel, you're like, okay, well, this is what I feel right now, but if I break this down, but actually I'm over here. That feelings wheel is just whoever the fuck designed the feelings wheel. I just give that to you guys for you guys to look at, right? Because there's so many ways you can describe. But the point is that you're it's like fucking roadmap. It's crazy, right?
Right.
So I'm glad that you picked up on that, because if you understand that, then you can understand that you need to maintain your power, impact, and control on a dime. You need to be able to flip. You need to be like, oh my gosh, she's over here, she's over there. So think less about like masculine, feminine, mood, emotions, her changing her mind. Just understand that that's fucking how people are. I'm a little bit tired of, oh, it's only fucking women because they're feminine. Because fucking men are feminine too. Women are masculine. Forget that shit. Just understand that people, like, they go into safe reactions. Safe and stat responses are so much better way to look at things. Because if you can control what you're doing, choosing to respond versus react, then what you can do is, knowing where she's at in the triangle, you can pull her out of it. So she's in victim mode and she's loving on herself, i.e. hating you. Yep. But then she wants to fix everything. She's in control, and I can't wait to see you. And she's sending you these pictures. Send me this picture for TikTok and blah, blah, blah. You can build on whatever she's feeling, but knowing where she's probably going to bounce to, right? And then you can try to be preemptive as you go down the road. But this will take practice because you can't predict her, right? So it's kind of like, understanding what you do normally and taking notes and realizing, oh, okay, this worked really well and this didn't work really well, like on the scorecard. It's the same sort of thing. You'll start to feel like you really understand where she's at in the triangle, and then you can start to be preemptive.
Now that I understand there's such thing as a nice girl, I'm going to go back to that triangle and really look at each piece of it. So I know it with like the back of my hand, so I know which part she's bouncing to, so I can love her through it. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes, Jeff. That's a leader right there. Okay, so I want to just touch on that real quick. So you have to understand that No More Mr. Nice Guy was Dr. Glover. He wrote it 20 years ago or whatever, and it became this worldwide phenomenon, right? Mm-hmm. But he wrote it called No More Mr. Nice Guy because of a lot of things, right? Like, we didn't have role models growing up. And when it started with World War II, or maybe it was World War I, actually, I can't remember. But then how all of a sudden then, the men were going off. So boys were going to schools. Teachers were women looking for approval, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But then stop. Forget all the preface that he laid there in his book. And go to more about what it was like when he was talking about how even great parents don't meet their kids' needs fast enough, right? Yep. Like, I believe Kathryn and I are phenomenal parents, but we can't possibly meet their needs fast enough. They all want something different at a different time, doing whatever that's going to affect them. Yep. There's lots of other things that we can do to balance this out. We're learning, we're growing, we're trying to do. But at the end of the day, if you think about Glover talking about that, well, that has nothing to do with male, female role models, man, a boy, girl, whatever. He talked about codependency. He talked about emotionally dumping on your children. He talked about all kinds of other things that cause these issues. So of course there could be nice girls. Of course.
She told me yesterday, that's the other thing too. She said, you're fucking codependent. When, she what she's doing, she's dragging in the past. She hates my ex-girlfriend for multiple reasons. Mm-hmm. And she likes to throw that in. That's what happened in Texas. That's what happened again yesterday. She said, you started dating that other girl. You couldn't even be single for 2 weeks and you started hanging out with another girl. And I said, you're right. I was codependent. I may still have some tendencies, but I'm working through it.
All right. So I appreciate that. And you're right. But what you also need to know is she's codependent. So a nice guy can't create a codependent relationship without a nice girl doing the same thing. It's impossible. Yeah. You can't be codependent. If you're not codependent because it's only you, well, how can you be codependent?
Right.
Okay, but I don't want you to use that against her. Okay,
no,
I don't.
No,
I just want you to understand. She's going through her own programming, her own paradigms, her own dynamic. Okay, codependent. Yeah, you cannot be codependent. Co means two. Right? Yep. And that's what people don't realize. People get so focused on the negative about you that they're not realizing that they're a part of that. That doesn't matter if we're talking about narcissism. It doesn't matter if we're talking about codependency. It doesn't matter if we're talking about nice guy. All of it's the same shit. It's a reciprocal relationship that we both enter and fuel. And, people get all upset about raising, oh, that's a red flag, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you guys raised each other's flags. But in the stuff that we talked about earlier, if you can think about how, if you're moving forward, providing structure for where you're going, Jeff, then you will not have to worry about being dependent on her. Then you can release her dependency as well on you. But that's going to be hard she's going to feel weird about that. Now, you've got the support from guys like Lords. She's dealing with on her own, and unfortunately, the other topic that we need to talk about, potentially other men, right?
Yep.
All you can do is show up looking like you're proud of the man in the mirror. And I don't mean looking like, I mean like you like the look of the guy that you're proud of in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
When you do that, I'm sorry, when you do that well enough, long enough, that's when you have a Corey story where she's like, I don't need that. I got everything I need over here, right? You haven't had to tell her anything. You haven't had to, or you go to what we talked about yesterday where what do we have to do? We have to show up long enough where we can invite her or motivate with boundaries. But right now, like you can try to lay a boundary all you wanted, but first off, you're not leaving. Number one, so your boundary is going to be shit. Second of all, at the end of the day, why would she listen? She's not respecting you well enough yet. She's not. So it's all that stuff we talked about yesterday, right?
I agree.
So I don't want you to look at this as like a massive challenge. I think this is a massive win right now. She's telling you she wants you to feel more, which is what I teach you in Man with Impact. We want her to be her natural, empathetic, loving self. She's just pushing it out angrily right now, right? Okay. I want your feelings. Fuck you, give me your feelings. Yeah. That's still asking for your feelings. That's a positive. That's massive. Yeah. Up until now, you've been stat responding, trying to hide and suppress your feelings, which, by the way, you're getting a little bit wrong. It's not that you should hide them. It's just that we're allowing our wife to feel. There's a big difference there. If you want me to explain that more, just let me know. Okay. But this is a massive
you're saying
win.
Put her feelings first, then yours can come secondary. Don't hide your feelings, but you're not growing up so she can't share her. Put her first.
It's not really even first or second. It's just that in the moment, we're allowing her to feel. She needs to feel whatever moment that it is. It's just like Man with Kids. When you can just let your kids feel, they get it out. When they get it out, all of a sudden I love you, Dad. Right? She's the same. Right? If she can just feel, fuck you, you're never fucking angry. I like the old you. The reset sucks, blah, 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 blah. When you do this right and let her feel, then she's just going to come to you and be like, I don't know what I was saying. Fuck. I love this. Because you let her get it out. Yeah. Right? Yep. Instead of having to hide it. Yep. Good. And so the only few things that I see wrong is that it's a bit of a pattern where you stat respond and you're proud of it, but you're actually safe reacting first and then you're stat responding. So you don't want to think lecturing versus pillow talk. What time is it? Right? Don't give her all the details. Just tell her what your decision is. Maybe that would be easier for you, is to understand man and control, your core values, and the decision you're making. Use the Lord's example. I love helping those men. That's it. That's what you love. Right? Now, you can also provide structure there. You can say, hey, babe, but you know what? Because she gets mad at you because you interrupt her work. And then she got mad at you because... Or sorry, then you were like throwing in her face like a kind of a hypocrite, or was the idea, because she's interrupting your work with the trash the other day, right? So provide the structure. I've thought about some things. I've reflected, whatever. And this is what I'm thinking. Why don't we do like a system? If it's important, call me twice.
Yeah. Okay.
If Kathryn texts me, I might not see it for 6 hours. I'm working. I'm helping you. Right?
I like that.
But if she calls me twice in a row, I understand it's time to talk to my wife. Right?
I get. Okay,
and I will tell anybody. Great. I will tell everybody. I don't care who I don't care if I'm on the phone with Grant Cardone. I'll be like, you know what? I got to talk to my wife right now because it's clearly important. And you know what? Here's the funny thing. It might not be that important, but it is to my wife, and she's my priority.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't have to, like, you get to a point where it's not going to be a waste of time shit. Even if it's not the most important thing on the planet, it's just important to her. It's not like she's wasting my time all the time, right? Yep. So it's not like you potentially have to lay boundaries or you have to put some more rules in place or you have to,
no,
but we'll worry about that when it comes.
It's rare. That's why I think she got so pissed. It's like I called him. Usually she'll just send me a text. She was also worked up. So she was like, you're going to hear me. Like her nice girl came out. You know, I was just remember No Mr. Nice Guy and the rage, how it comes out, right?
That's what happens. That's why I can speak so passionately about it, is because I understand it all too well, right?
Yeah.
She hasn't, I don't know, maybe she has read the book, maybe she hasn't, I don't know. But most people that read the book don't do anything with a book. Never mind that book. That's a lot of work, that book, right? Which is why I've woven it in and out of the reset. But she's not doing the reset. So it goes back to you, again, providing the structure, the direction for where you want to go. Okay, now I do want to talk about this. Oh, sorry, before I ask you the next question about the cheating stuff, do you have anything that you want to address with all of that stuff?
With the cheating stuff?
No, we'll get to cheating in 1 second. Just anything with your expressing your feelings, setting up the rules, like just loving her through it.
I think, yeah, you know, then I found myself like over kind of, you know, when she said, you're always on the Discord app at night. You don't even pay attention. Then you roll over and go to sleep. I said, no problem, babe. I can set aside a different specific time for that, so we have more time for each other. Not a problem.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. So that should never have come up, like ever in a million years. You love your wife. You came in the program to go get your wife, right?
Yeah.
And if you really are on the app and then rolling over and going to sleep, would you agree that that's true?
No. I rub her hand every night. She'll ask me to, watch a show together. No. That's
okay, so I was wondering, so then go back to what you just said. No problem, babe, you're right. We can set up a different time. I can use the app. Why did you happy wife, happy life it?
Yeah, you're right.
That's not a stat response. That's your nice guy response. That is you trying to safe react and protect and save the relationship when you're not actually on Discord all night long.
Yeah.
So, if you think back to what she said about how I wish you'd be more angry more. Well, actually, that's not really true. And when you say that, I feel angry. It's pretty upsetting, actually. I feel hurt, betrayed. I'm being picked on.
So just
those are all real feelings with an indisputable fact. She's saying something that's not true. No, you always are on Discord. Always, you're just working with the lords, and the lords are stupid. Blah blah blah. Well, to be perfectly honest, honey, I'm not. And if you feel that way, I'd love to talk about it. But when you say that, because I'm not, I feel a little bit betrayed, undermined, attacked, belittled, whatever it is that you're feeling, right? Yeah. She's giving you permission to have those feelings. That's what I teach you in the reset. It's just I go with the empathy approach, but this is still her doing the same thing, right? Okay. So go ahead and not be your nice guy by telling the truth, right? Otherwise, you're just people pleasing. This is the her on the pedestal thing, right?
Okay.
Oh, fuck, baby, you're right. I could totally put my phone away more. I'll put some rules up. No Discord after 6 p.m. Well, fuck, man. If you're on the phone for 10 minutes with Discord, you didn't change. None of what she said is true. Right. And you're not in Discord enough to be. That's why I know this. That's why I'm bringing this up. Right. So you're just happy wife, happy life in it. You're being your nice guy. You're people pleasing, wife pleasing.
In that situation, you would say instead, you would say, you know what? I know that not to be true, and I'm actually kind of a little bit hurt by what you're saying. And if you want to talk about it, we can. But the fact that that's how you feel, like something like that, basically.
Similar, yeah. Like you can go a few different routes, but the first approach is literally like, well, I can appreciate why you feel that way, but I don't agree. And when you talk like how I'm avoiding us, because you're not, right?
Yeah.
I feel a little bit hurt. I'm really trying to put a lot of time into us. Now, I'm really trying to put a lot of time into us is the defensive part. But the tone is not defensiveness. The tone is take the defensiveness away and be firm with, I love you. I'm putting time into us. Okay. Right? Now,
you can even say that. Prepared. You can just say, well, I don't agree with that. But what I do know is I'm putting a lot of time into that because I love us and it's going to better us. Leave it like that.
No. Now you're trying to convince her again. Talk her way into her heart or vagina, right? We don't need to. you are trying to love her and be better. That's what the whole point is. That's why you even went as far as to show her the reset, talk about Lords, whatever. So you've gone way above and beyond to try to show her that you're bettering us, right? Just don't anymore. Just don't.
Okay.
None of that stuff. Just literally actions speak louder than words, right? And in this case, she's complaining about something that is entirely unfactual. I know, because at nighttime, you're not dropping 400 messages in Discord. You're not talking to Lords and helping them all night long. You're not. And if it happens one day a week, I mean, that's okay. Like, we all have a life, right? Outside of our partner. Okay? But
so don't happy
that
wife
doesn't mean,
it, happy wife it. Don't put her on a pedestal. Just say, you just basically just say, you know, it really helps me out. Just keep it short and sweet.
Now you're defending yourself again. So now you've twisted what we've talked about and gone to your nice guy, right? Actually, it's just more simple than that. It's just
sales, so I either try to sell or defend. I defend a product or sell a product. That's my damn problem. Like, trying to dial this in. So what would you say one more time so I understand it?
Even that is a safe reaction, trying to defend yourself, right? It's not about sales. You're using sales to defend yourself. Right? Okay. No, you can do whatever you want. Grant Cardone is one of the best salespeople in the world, but he's also one of the best husbands in the fucking world. He's one of the only rich people that have health, wealth, and relationship. Right?
Yep.
And he's one of the best salespeople in the world. Right?
So you can say, how about this? How about this? I appreciate where you're coming from. I disagree. And just leave it at that. And if you'd like to talk more about it, we can.
No, I wouldn't even say I disagree. I really hate the I disagree, right? Okay. Because it almost like invites conflict. But if you get like, well, I can appreciate where you're coming from, but that's not true.
Okay. And if you'd like to talk more about it, we can.
Well, you can. I think that's great. But I think if you're going to go down that road, then you're better off sharing a feeling. Because it's not true. Okay. You're not on Discord communicating with marriage lords for fucking 4 hours every night. In fact, if it's 20 minutes, it's maybe 30, that's lots. And there's still lots of hours left. You know what I mean? Right. So it's not true is the indisputable fact. And I feel, whatever it is you feel, I feel alone right now. I feel attacked. I feel undermined.
It's not true, and I feel attacked right now.
Yeah, I feel attacked right now. Let her lose her shit. That's a man running the race, letting her run to the side of his car, and showing up, stat responding consistently on the track. Let her lose your shit. I'm not attacking you. What the fuck are you talking about? You literally spend all your time on Lords. Okay, well, hold on. Here's where everybody's going to lose it and protect themselves. Do you spend all your time on Lords? No. So then why are you getting upset defending yourself?
Yeah.
In a relationship,
that's not true. I feel
what happens is
right now. Yeah. I got it.
Well, that's untrue. You know, but watch my facial expressions, right? Well, that's untrue. Like you're thinking, like this takes practice, right? But it's like smiling to make your tone sound better when you're going through whatever you're going through, right? Okay. Well, that's not true. I can appreciate where you're coming from, but when you say that, I sure do feel attacked.
I got it.
You see, you can do so much differently that would just. It's more inviting. And then assume the worst. Let her lose her fucking shit. That's man with impact. Letting her feel. Okay. It's okay, babe. I got it. You know, and then you can get into a half rap if you want. What would you feel if you got what you wanted? I'm not on Discord ever again. Why is that important to you? What would you feel? Modify the rap a bit, right? Like, get into it with her. You're certainly capable with where you're at, right?
Yeah. So that's not true. So you just basically say, well, that's not true. And actually, I'm kind of hurt that you say that.
So I wouldn't say that's not true. I say that's untrue. I say that because not is like a big push away, like a big attack word, right? But if you say untrue, it's the same thing, but it's a little less abrasive, right? Well, that's untrue. And see my face? I'm thinking about it. Yeah. That's untrue, you know?
Yeah. That's not, that's untrue,
and when you say that.
And I feel a little bit hurt that you feel that way.
Yeah, and don't say kinda. Little bit's okay, but don't say kinda because you do feel something, right?
No,
Don't be afraid of your
that.
feelings, okay? And then from there, you let it happen. Be prepared for the worst, Jeff. Be prepared for her to tell you she's fucking 14 guys because you're a pussy. Like, whatever the worst case scenario you can think of it. Because then you can respond, not react, and be proud of who you are. We do not care how she acts. We're going to always assume she's acting in respect to or how we've responded or acted before in the past. Then we can show up, and as long as we're happy, if this reason this is so important is if you are truly happy with who you are, proud of who you are, you love who you are, if she doesn't meet you, then you're probably going to make a change.
Right.
You deserve decades of happiness.
I had that thought this morning. I really had that thought this morning about I can live without her. Part of me would die without her, but I can live without her.
That's how it works. That's why I teach you guys that.
I'm starting to level up more than she is, and that's scaring the shit out of her, and I'm starting to recognize like all these things.
I'm going to try to draw this out for you here. So this is where you start, okay? So you guys start a relationship and you're here. By the time you come to the reset, she's up here and she's on this pedestal, okay?
Yep.
But then when you go through the reset, you start to realize it's not her that's up here. It's that she's actually down here and you have actually leveled up, okay?
Yep.
And now you're looking down at her. This is all too common. Okay, this is almost every man that ever goes through the reset. Almost, 2,400 in the last year. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not that she's not worth it up here. It's that she actually wasn't as great as you thought. But you love her, and you're going to lead her to meet you up here. Right?
Yep.
That's all. We're not going to give up on her because she's not worth it. Right. And that's where a lot of guys, especially the guys that are with wives, like maybe you'll go down this road where if she's cheating, that's where a lot of guys go down this path. But you forgot the first thing. Why wasn't she looking at you? Now you've leveled up and now you got to bring her. That was the whole thing. Right. It wouldn't matter what it is, but it typically that's what happens is we all think she's the most spectacular woman on the planet. If you ever hear me talk about Kathryn, I love her and every ounce of her. Yeah. Imperfectly perfect.
Yep. I've said that to her before. Yeah.
Yeah. But then that's what allows you use your strengths to support her weaknesses. She uses her strengths to support your weaknesses. That's why I don't believe in power couples. That's what the big thing on the internet's been for 20 years. No, fuck, man. I believe in superpower couples. Why? Because it's not actually about the man leading. It's about you each leading in your own strengths. Right now, she's leading, so I teach you to lead. Yeah. But then eventually, you meet together, right?
Luckily for me, she's in therapy, and she's also started this fitness thing. So she's got just basically like I have you. She's got a fitness version of you right now that she's mentoring from. So she's willing to. We listened to a podcast on how to make your mornings better by setting your shit up the night before, so you're not so stressed the next morning on the way up. A national podcast. Like she's willing to learn and grow. She wants to do it. She just doesn't like that I'm starting to really get here, and she feels like she's down here right now. So we got to just narrow that gap, and hopefully she inspire and
so if you inspire, lead, ask, motivate with boundaries, and we never want to get to motivate with boundaries, if possible, right? We don't even want to ask. So if you think about some of the conversations we had with some of the other lords this week, when it comes to the whole cheating thing. Right? It's rough. It's tough. But what happens is somebody will start to feel guilty. Oh my gosh, you're leveling up and I've been cheating on you. Fuck. And so I've had a couple guys in the past, only a couple, but in the past where when he leveled up so much, she felt so guilty that she had to end it. She's like, if I only would have waited. But on a whole, that's not what happens. What happens is she starts to level up and realize like, oh fuck. Look at everything I have. Look at everything. Like, wow. That's Corey's story, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't think you were ever going to be able to level up, and look at you. It's unbelievable, right? And so if you can appreciate that, you can start to realize that it is really, and they're always like, oh, why is it always the man to fix it? Because right now she's leading. Think about every marriage lord you've met. That's men everywhere. It's just that we're just talking to marriage lords, so we see it. Well, she wants me to sleep in the other room. She's initiating divorce. She's choosing when we have sex. I'm sorry, who's leading?
Right.
So if you could be an equal, and I talk about you guys being the leader, but that's so that we can ultimately be equals. That's it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's how a superpower couple works. Power couples work where one is the leader.
Right.
Superpower couples work where you're both the leader. I'm so glad that we just talked about this because I've never thought about it that way. That's perfectly the way to put it. So if you think about it like that, then you can realize that all you have to do is show up long enough where she needs to level up. If she's feeling guilty, if she's starting to realize, Greg's wife is a really good example, Jeff. I'm sure you've seen what's going on with him. He's like 95% there when he joined the program. He realized he was only like 70% there when he joined the program. He just didn't know it. And then he used the reset and he's leveling up. And now he's like 95% there. And they're just missing this one thing and it's starting to get better and things are starting to get good. What did I tell him? The next step is that she's going to feel fucking terrible. She's going to feel awful because she loves how incredible of a man you are, but she doesn't quite have the desire. So she feels guilty. Guilty. But then you love her through that. And then whatever the roadblock is, she and he together will be motivated, but she'll be motivated to fix that, right? To address whatever issue is holding them back or her back, right? Okay. That's the difference. And so take that and apply that to you right now. If you can just sit there and go, man, she has so much to think about between her nice girl, between the past, between hopefully not too many guys she's trying to get some connection from, which is a safe reaction. It's not because she's not looking at you as much. In your case, I don't think I told you this before, have I? I don't think I have. I don't believe she's entirely looking at other men because she's not looking at you. Yours is a little different. I think she's really stuck in trying to safe react and sabotage shit. So
100%. That's her comfort zone. She's sabotaged every relationship through cheating that she's ever had because she wants to ignore her feelings and not deal with it. So now she's starting to deal with her feelings.
If she yells at you and you don't leave her, well, if she can go fucking do whatever she wants to do, well, then you're probably going to leave, right?
Right.
And so she doesn't have to be abandoned first. She doesn't have to address her problems first. But if you can level up the way that I'm talking about, love her through it, she'll come up here. And then, I mean, we can't control her, dude. I hope we don't have to, but we will. We'll ask if we need to. But you need to show up with those scorecard, with the scorecard and with the assessments, so that we can ask her. I'm sorry, you're a little blurry.
I know what inspire lead is, but what do you mean by ask? We can have to ask her, and I know what boundaries are. What's ask?
So asking is just where you be like, so the example that I always like to use with Lords is there was a time when Kathryn, and so I had been leveling up for a while. Kathryn finally took a course, and by the way, that took us through a negative spiral because I was like, oh, you only listen to people with masters, blah, blah, blah. It's all stuff I was teaching you. Anyways, we got back on track, okay? We started to go, but then I kept on reading. I kept on taking courses, and I was building like version 2 or 3, maybe even 3 of the reset at the time. And I was like, if you're not willing to join me and continue to learn and grow, then I'm not sure that I can keep doing this anymore.
Gotcha.
So it's not a boundary. It's saying immediately you follow that with like, so I'd really like to continue to grow and learn. Here's a more recent example would be when we were talking about, so our sex life's phenomenal, but I'm reading a lot of other books. I'm even talking to this guy who's, you remember the book in the reset that I talk about, not the masculine relationships, the evolved masculine.
Bedroom, deathbed fish?
No, not that one. The Evolved Masculine by Destin Garrick. I've been talking to that guy on Zoom like, I don't know, we spent probably 10 or 15 hours on the phone on Zoom. And he's a high ticket coach. I mean, high 6-figure coach. And so I'm not ready to hire him yet. We're trying to figure out a plan, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, in my readings from him and a few other books that I was reading, I'm like, wait a minute, there's a whole nother level of sex that I had no idea existed. Here I thought I had this awesome sex life, but there's like a whole nother level of sexual energy, of multiple orgasms for men, not even ejaculating, fucking all these things that women can have. I was like, this shit's real. pardon me, this is real. And so this has been about a 3 or 4 month journey that I've been on right now. And so the example that we're talking about is I said to Kathryn, like, I want more, you know, are you with me? Let's do this thing. And it's kind of scary for her, right? Because a lot of the work has brought up a lot of the trauma and the assault that I did to her, a lot of the hurt and emotional abuse, never mind the sexual, right? And so it's a bit of a painful start, let's say, to this next level of our sexual relationship. But that was the ask. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not going to live in my mistakes, in my sins anymore. And I want more. If all that's possible, it might not be. I don't know. It's all new to me, right? I'm used to get in, get out, do your thing. You know, I'm not saying like rush it, but I just mean like that's what we think. We have sex and it's over, right? Like, but if there's this whole other realm of possible opportunities with the sex life, I'm like, well, I want that, right? And so I had to ask Kathryn. Right? I've been inspiring. I've been leading. Life is great. We've got this incredible sex life. But wait a minute. What's all this other stuff? Okay. Well, I want more. Are you in? Let's do it, babe. You know? And she's like, okay, let's check it out. Let's figure out what we know. And she found somebody that she resonates with. And I found somebody that I resonate with. And we're figuring things out. And it's not a pressure cooker situation. But it started with an ask. Right?
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
Yeah, dude. You've got to understand that no matter what, you deserve happiness. Your nice guy is going to tell you, and believe me, I want to keep you together. I want to save as many relationships as possible. But your nice guy is going to tell you, I don't want to fuck up again. She's everything, blah, 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 blah. But if she doesn't follow your lead, and I mean become your equal, okay? So that you can become the superpower couple. At some point, we might have to ask her to join you. Listen, I've actually had enough of this yelling. Do you think we could try to have a little bit more fun? I'm sick. I'm literally tired of dealing with anger issues, and I should be more angry or whatever. I like the new me. Do you want to join me or what? That's an ask, right? And we'll do that a number of times, Jeff. Before we might have to motivate with a boundary, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm certain you're not going to live the rest of your life upset and waiting. Think about Pete for an example. You know, Pete. He's honoring his commitment. He's Catholic. I'm not getting divorced. I love my wife, and she's on Reddit posts every single day. You know, actually, as far as I can tell, making up lies. She quit Kathryn's program. She's not interested. She's just coasting in the marriage. Well, Pete's honoring his commitment, but Pete's still pretty young. We're all young. We're all the same age, right? Like, so I'm going to say we're young, but he's not going to spend the next 50 years of his life with somebody who's not willing to engage. And she's already recognized how great he is. And he's asking her. He's eventually motivate with boundaries will come in. So does this kind of make sense now?
Yeah, it does. I mean, part of me kind of got a little bit, I feel like her comfort zone is toxic. But luckily she is going to therapy for this and doing some things with a sex and love addiction therapist. However, with that being said, I mean, look, I know she's talking to at least one guy. She's kind of slipping backwards, and I'm not interested in going backwards. And I hope that she continues to join me, and I hope that I'm enough showing up as this new man. But I know it scares the shit out of her. I could potentially see her being one of those women that at first says, I can't do this anymore. You know, I don't even know who this new person, and it freaks her out, but then coming back around and saying, well, wait a minute, kind of like Corey's wife.
I think it'll be a little bit different for you. I think it'll be different for you. And I think we're going to have to intervene, actually, I think, with her. I don't want you to yet. That's why I haven't brought it up. I want you to focus mostly on wicked scorecards like we talked about. I think that was yesterday or maybe it was a couple of days ago. But scorecards, wicked scorecard. And I want your assessment backing what we're doing. I want you to feel so proud of who you are with the score on your assessment. 162 is not enough. I want you as close to 200 as possible. And I want those scorecards perfect daily. If you can do that for 25, 30 days, I think this is also a little bit different because just in case you're talking to other lords, your wife, your fiance is in like a totally different position, man. She's super aware. She has education and she knows what she's talking about. Okay.